Hello everybody, it's SquidLord05, and I want to tell you that I am super excited about this MOC. This is my second LEGO MOC I've done for my channel, and it is just amazing. There's action, there's basically an implosion, and it just looks awesome. I used a bunch of really cool pieces, a bunch of really cool connections, and I'm very proud of this MOC. So let's get into it. The first thing that I did was figure out how to build the water. I used a simple structure of 1x2 tiles in translucent blue stacked on top of either lighter or darker pieces depending on how far away from shore you are. Then I used some 1x2 plates in translucent blue and 1x1 cheese slopes, also in translucent blue, to create an idea of waves breaking across the surface. This is included in the LEGO Ideas set. However, I made it much more prominent, as in instead of the waves are blowing across the water, they're just blowing against the rockwork. And then I kind of put all of them together, finished it off, and added a nice polished touch with some lighter blue pieces underneath the main rockwork. I started putting the smaller sections together, and then I decided that I wanted to build the rock in the corner. So I based my build off of a corner build. Then I put all of the pieces together one by one, starting with the larger one, and then adding the smaller ones. Continuing to work on the blue structure of the water and finishing that, I started on to the mainland. I used a red stud jumper plate for later use, and then I started building the rock. It was very hard to find all the pieces throughout the original set, as many were hidden in different parts of the build and concealed. So, I ended up having to completely take apart the set, but I think the result of this MOC is absolutely worth it. I used a ton of these structures and built a ton of them. I layered them around the base plate so that it looked like the basic design that is featured in the games. After completing all of the rockworks with the dark orange at the top and finishing attaching them to the main structure, I then went through and built the same pattern reverse with a brown 1x1 brick at the top. Using this design, I again made a ton of them and layered them throughout the build in between the spacing. And as you can see, the checkered design of the orange-brown and the brown looks absolutely amazing. After I finished placing all the rockwork, I decided that that red jumper plate needed a little something. So, after finishing the rockwork, I went back in and added a single 1x2 red tile piece with a clip. Then I made 5 stalks of bamboo and put them together, and then I set that all up. What I did next was I made the surface using a 1x6x6 green plate. I used the variations of color that the LEGO Ideas set gave me and completed this part of the build really easily. I used the inverted colors and patterns just like the rockwork below. I then took a bunch of 1x1 modified stud pieces and used the side studs to lay 1x1 modified triangle tiles. I thought these looked really good for tufts of grass that were pulled up because of the speed that was involved in this build. Continuing to build the structure of the grass and the sides of the lawn, I used variations of the triangle piece again for the top part. I ended up moving around some of them in the finished version, as you can see. However, I think the original result looks amazing. Heading back to the rockwork, I've tiled it off using the grass piece that I had just finished building. After that was nice and secure, I decided to move on to some different structures, including the cave opening or blast point that I had originally designed in the build. Using the 1x1 dark orange tiles and 1x1 brown tiles, I finished this off and I think it looks really good. Having finished the cave structure, I decided to move on to the main enemy. So, I took a 1x2 round with a Technic pin, placed a Technic pin with a ball joint in it, and then started tiling it off and making it kind of look nice. I used a couple of sideways building techniques to get some really nice designs on there, along with using an upside down tile building technique to get a nice, smooth, sloped design for the robot arm. As I continued to use these designs, I realized that the color scheme I had picked wouldn't exactly work. So I decided that the main hand, or claw, was going to be in dark steel gray, red, light gray, and blacks. And I think it turned out really good for something I was not trying to do. I used a ring piece from the LEGO Ideas set and placed it over the connector piece for the Technic pin. When this was complete, I connected both sections and I added a few extra details, like the Tin Woodman's hat from LEGO minifigures, along with the Mandalorian antenna from Star Wars. Having completed the robot arm, I decided to put all of the components together. I put the rockwork back on to the waterworks, and I thought it looked really good. I attached the robot arm using that red clip that I had placed earlier on the jumper plate, and then I angled the claws to make it look more real and alive. I put a lot of action in this, so I needed some peaceful things, along with some aspects of Sonic's world, including the pink rock and a wave motion for when Sonic is running really fast, using basic sideways building techniques and a few translucent pieces. After finishing the wave motion, I decided to move on to another aspect that is in Sonic's homeworld, which is the flower. The sunflower. Using various combinations, you can make this using any of the green leaf pieces that originated from the LEGO Friends sets, using a green stem, and then another Technic piece that LEGO designed their Sonic set with for the flowers. I used the same basic build for this. Attaching it to the corner of the build, I thought it looked really cool, and I decided to move on to one last part, making it more recognizable as a Sonic set. I used one of the extra life boxes from the original classic games, which is featured in the LEGO Ideas Sonic set, as well as angling it so that the arm is grabbing it. Then I decided to, of course, add Sonic himself. After adding Sonic, I realized this build was absolutely amazing and 100% complete. I hope you enjoyed this LEGO MOC, and I hope that you will continue watching as I create more things. I plan to have a LEGO MOC video out every week. Please come back and enjoy more LEGO MOCs soon. For now, bye.